Hello there everybody, it is me XFreezerBunny and welcome back to another Parisian Apartment speed building video. Okay guys, I'm so excited to be doing another one of these. This is the 5th building in the series and I'm so excited because I know that a lot of you guys have been looking forward to me moving forward with my Versailles project. So voila, this is completely unexpected. It's like my first Sims 3 speed build in forever. The last Parisian apartment that I did was uploaded last December, you guys. So that was literally like forever ago, and I don't know, I'm so glad to be doing another Parisian apartment for you guys, just because that I know that a lot of you guys have been looking forward to it, and it's a successful speed build. I've been so caught up in The Sims 4 lately, so I'm glad to be going back to my roots as a YouTuber and doing some more content for The Sims 3. Okay guys, so yeah, so I'm so excited to be doing this once again. In case you guys didn't know, Parisian apartment is a style of apartment that I kind of have been building for use in my project to replicate the world of Versailles in The Sims 3, and that project has been going on since 2012, you guys. That's like 3 years in the making, and it's still far from completion, but you know what, we are inching our way to creating a better and better world and stuff like that. Now that there's no more content or new content that's being released for The Sims 3, I think it's easier for me to actually move forward, just because I literally have everything I could need, and pretty much it's just a matter of motivation for me, because I know that a lot of you guys have been so excited and have been pushing me to finish constructing this world, but I just did not have any motivation. I feel like I'm a little bit intimidated to finish this world, because you know, I don't want to make any mistakes. Everything I add to the world has been thought out carefully, and you know, I just don't want to make any mistakes. That's why I'm taking my time. So yes, you guys, in case you guys didn't know what this style of apartment is all about, it's kind of like a row apartment. The Sims 3 enabled you to construct actual apartments where you can make a really huge building and just keep a part of it, like a room or a unit for it for yourself. And that's pretty much what this is. If you guys are new to seeing this, I've actually made 4 of these already, and if you guys have not seen those yet, just check them out. They'll give you a really good idea of what I'm going for and all that good stuff. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from my French viewers, and most of you guys say that it looks exactly like the ones in Paris, and this one is actually really nice. Now that I know how it looks like as a finished project, I can say that it is the most French looking out of all the Parisian apartments that I've done, primarily because it is composed of many rows, like many kind of like clustered buildings together in a row. And I think if you actually place this in like a row, I know I said that a million times, but it looks really good in row form, I guess, like plopped next to each other. Okay, so now that I said row a million times, this apartment actually is duplicated 5 times throughout this world. So 5 times is a lot, and it helps me with, you know, with just the time. You know, it gives me less time it actually gives me more time to do other things rather than focus on building apartments and things. So yeah, it's gonna be duplicated 5 times. However, this is gonna be a little bit complicated to explain to you guys. Okay, once again, this apartment is going to be duplicated 5 times. However, there are 2 variations. The first variation right now is the one that you guys see, and that is the variation for a corner lot. So you guys can see that the end part of this lot looks like it is made for a corner piece, and that is my intention, because there are some instances where I duplicate this lot throughout this world where I had to place it on a corner. So basically, that's pretty much it. There's a corner piece, and then the other variation is like just a normal center piece. I know it's really difficult to explain, but yeah, like I said, there's 5 types. I mean, there's 5. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking all over the place. I don't know, but pretty much there's 5 of these all throughout the world. they slightly differ from each other in a sense that 2 of them are corner lots and then 3 are center lots. Okay, so hopefully, I'm pretty sure you guys will get the idea if you actually download the world yourself when I post an update of the world, which I will be posting probably on the holidays and stuff, but I should probably talk about this building more. So yeah, as you guys can see, this building is composed of 1, 2, 3, 4 separate looking buildings. The building that actually contains the unit that you can occupy for your Sims is the one to the the one that we're painting white right now. That's pretty much it. And yeah, it's also really interesting because this is the first time that I actually built a Parisian apartment unit on like a top level, on like a roof level of like the apartment itself. So you guys can see that it's kind of built on a roof, and it doesn't have like a mansard. It has just balconies instead of a mansard and just a typical roof on top of it. I know none of you guys know what I'm talking about. That's why I don't want to go too technical on this. So I honestly don't have any freaking idea what to talk about because this is like a 40-minute video, you guys. So freaking goodness help me get through this video. It's also really slowed down because I know how much you guys like to take your time and watching my videos. And yeah, I posted a video of the Sims 4 Spa Day venue. I believe it's called the Mirage Tranquility Center, and that was sped up really, really fast. And a lot of you guys pointed out that it was very uncomfortable to watch. So I'm trying to slow down my speed builds so that they'll be a little bit easier to watch. So yeah. You know, I guess I might as well talk to you guys about the Versailles project, I guess. You guys can see a little bit bits and pieces of the world every time I zoom out and stuff. The reason why I zoom out quite often is I just want to see this building in context. You know, I want to see how it looks like with its neighboring buildings and things like that. So yeah, it kind of fits really, really well, actually. I'm super happy with how it looks like. The loft unit, I guess I should call it a loft since it's on top of the roof and stuff. But yeah, the loft unit actually is very modern, and out of all the Parisian apartments that I've done, this one is the most modern one. So that's really fun. This is the most modern one. It has a lot of metal and leather furniture to it. And a lot of you guys actually pointed out that just because the outside of the building looks very traditional, looks very classic, doesn't mean that the furniture and interior are gonna have to be classic and traditional. So this time I tried to take in your guys' suggestions and things and try to make something modern but still have a really traditional kind of Parisian French looking outside. So yeah, over here we're playing around with those elevator shafts because these are really tricky to incorporate. My French viewers actually told me that these apartments don't exactly have elevator shafts, they just have stairs on them. But I tried putting stairs in the earlier builds, but the problem was that it glitches out. You know, the Sims glitch out every time they use the stairs. So the elevator was a really safe option, and it was also a very practical option as well because it saved a lot of space and time as well. So that's really fun. So yeah, elevators came with late night, by the way. So you guys can clearly see that we're starting to be a little bit more modern with what we're doing here. I put those floor to ceiling all glass windows. Looks really nice. This thing turned out really nice actually as well. It's basically just a loft. It has a 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom, a laundry area, which is actually, I think, only the second time I was able to incorporate a laundry area in a Parisian apartment speed build. And there's also like a kitchen, living room area, reading room area or something like that, but those are in an open plan, which was kind of fun. You know, modern architecture always has open plan. Well, not always, but usually has an open plan. So I really like that mix of, you know, it's kind of classic on the outside, it's really, really modern on the inside. which I really liked. You know, it's unexpected, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys will like this. I know for a fact, though, that when you guys download this world and move your Sims in, the odds are that you guys will actually just replace the furniture and change the wallpaper and stuff, so I didn't go too crazy when it came to the furnishing and things. So yeah. Right now, we're figuring out pretty much the basic floor plan, hashtag basic, but the basic floor plan of this, you know, this loft unit. And it's kind of like, it's basically like a box, you know, the open plan kitchen, dining, and living room area is kind of in this L-shaped. And the smaller room is, of course, the toilet, and the larger room is the one and only bedroom. So right now I'm trying to experiment with the flooring color, and really fun actually. I tried to make like the flooring really dark. I tried to kind of like, I don't know, there's like some black floors in The Sims 4 that look really good, so I kind of tried to replicate those because I use the black floors in The Sims 4 in my modern builds like all the time, but for some reason they just weren't working. I felt like the black floor made the space darker and smaller looking, and since we already had like a really small loft unit anyway, I'm like, you know, this is not helping. So I ended up changing it to this carpet that you guys can see right now. Wallpaper, once again, I kept it really simple. And the basic defaults, this is a simple wall with like a nice kind of paint texture to it. And yeah, that is a thing that I do in most of my builds. I put like an H-shape half wall, an H-shape half wall. Oh my gosh, that is so difficult to say. But yeah, you guys see that H-shape, letter H, okay? And then it's half wall. Basically, the one side is gonna have a bar, and then the other side is gonna have some counters. Oh my gosh, I know what I forgot to put. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to put a sink, a kitchen sink. Oh my gosh, I might actually do that. But yeah, I forgot to put a kitchen sink. But other than that, we have the usual appliances. I guess we can say that this unit kind of has a little bit more of a high-end, you know, look to it, because the appliances that I used are quite high-end. Very expensive fridge and stove, and I forgot to put a kitchen sink. There is a sink in the bathroom though, so that might be okay. I struggled a lot actually with the lights that I was gonna use, because there were no lights in The Sims 3 that were like simple enough and gave enough lights that kind of was appropriate for the design that I was going for. But I think in the end, I was very successful in incorporating some university life lights, and that was really fun, and that was really fitting as well. Also, I tried to put a fireplace over here, but I will change the position of that later in a little bit. That will change into a different position. I'll change the material of the fireplace into a wood, by the way, and that is a really nice fireplace. It's really modern, and it has like a nice horse painting as well. Really nice, really abstract, and I don't know, I feel like it kind of fit in really well with the design that I was going for this you know, for this loft type of feel. It's very bachelor-esque, but you know what, I don't want to be gender specific, so you can always move in your Sims or your female Sims and they'll be completely fine. Adding in this wall light over here that I felt like was really appropriate for the kitchen, and it looked really good in the kitchen as well. So that's that, and I don't know, I felt like it kind of complemented the streamlined aspect of our kitchen furniture. So yeah, the sofas are gonna be leather because I love leather sofas for modern builds. I don't know why, I just really like them. So yeah, I'm gonna be using this basically one sofa all throughout. I'm gonna put 2 love seats and then 2 living room chairs as well for the reading area just behind this bar over here, and it's gonna have the same materials because I kind of like to mix and match everything to make it all matchy. I don't know, it's just kind of my style, you know. I didn't want this to be homey at all, and I know that's really weird to hear, but I wanted this to be more like less casual and more formal, if you guys get what I mean. You know, I don't know, I wanted this to be like something that you would see or you would expect to get when your apartment unit is being turned over to you, and not something that was lived in and stuff like that. So, you know, you guys have a lot of room to customize this and to make it your own. You can add a bunch of clutter and stuff. I deliberately intended not to include anything that was too personal, because I didn't want to be specific to the gender and things like that. And yeah, I also wanted you guys to have like a lot of leeway to add stuff for yourself to make it your own, and it's gonna be more fun that way. So yeah, most of the walls are bare. You can add like some painting, some plants and stuff like that. It's gonna be fun for you guys as well. The good thing about making apartments in The Sims 3 is that they are so much cheaper than your regular house, because you don't have to pay for the lot, you don't have to pay for the rest of the building. It's basically just, you know, you're just paying for the room and then the furniture and then the wall and the floor covering. But other than that, it's super affordable, and you know, it's definitely appropriate for a French Paris style situation or like environments where, you know, there's not much space, everybody is kind of crowded and struggling to have enough space and stuff. And I think, you know, like apartment living is very appropriate for a Parisian themed world. So yeah. Anyway, I should talk more about Versailles and stuff. You know, Versailles used to be a part of, Versailles did not used to be a part of Paris, actually. It was kind of a country location. Eventually, though, as the city of Paris became bigger, Versailles became a part of Paris, and now I believe it is a suburb of Paris. They're very urban. I'm trying to recreate that by making these like super large and super compact buildings and stuff like that. So yeah, I just also want to give a shout out to you guys who have been with me since the very first couple of episodes of my Versailles series. I know it's been forever, you know, it takes me forever to record, it takes me forever to like make up my mind, but you know what? I know that a lot of you guys are still out there and still waiting for this series. I'm getting a lot of messages from you guys that tell me that this is the series that really got you into my channel, and that you guys are still waiting to see more of it. So that gives me so much motivation actually to just move forward and yeah, stop second guessing myself actually, because I don't know. It's tough, especially like a long-term project. You would never want to make mistakes and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm getting so sentimental over this, but it just feels so good to give this to you guys once again. And by the way, the thumbnail format that I'm gonna make for this is exactly the same as the thumbnail format that I made for the earlier iterations or versions of the series. So it's gonna be super fun. The thumbnails for my channel kind of also evolve with the times, with what's relevant to people's taste and to my taste, because the tastes change. So I think when I actually put the thumbnail on this video, it's gonna stand out like a sore thumb in my channel. And that's going to be super fun and a nice fun little quirk for you guys to kind of spot. If you made it this far into the video, I'm pretty sure very little of you guys have actually made it this far. We're almost 20 minutes in, so still halfway of the video to go, and I don't know. So yeah, I told you guys in the earlier part of this video that out of all the Parisian apartments that I've built, this one looked the most Parisian, and I think that also helps with, you know, the color scheme of this build also helps. You guys can see me fussing over every shade of white, every shade of cream, every shade of yellow. I literally kind of researched and stuff. Usually in my older Parisian apartment builds, I would just like guess and pretend like I know how it should look like. But this time I literally looked at a strip of houses in Paris, and I'm like, okay, I like that shade. That's a really nice shade, I feel like. So yeah, that's, you know, it's a lot of research actually, especially if you're trying to have like a realistic build. You know, if you're basing something on real life, I highly suggest that you guys do your research and see like what makes the building unique and what makes it stand out, and you know, the special characteristics of this building, and you know, the color scheme, the shape of it, the proportions, all of those come together and make or break a build. You know, I've known that every time I build, you know, a house or like a community lot that was based off of real life, I always try to be careful and look at, you know, things in real life and kind of measure the look that I was going for, if it looks the same, or if it doesn't, see what needs to be changed and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, putting in some windows and stuff, it's really fun, and it's also really time consuming. I think creative style in The Sims 3 is kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's a curse because it takes forever to finish a build, because you get so many options with creative style. You just have to mix and match all the different patterns and all the different textures and materials and all that good stuff to find what works perfectly for your design. But you know, at the same time, it takes forever. You know, the reason why it takes forever is that, you know, there's just a million options that are possible. There's like a million different possibilities, and I just don't allow myself to you know, finish something if I don't try things that I feel like might be a better option, if that makes any sense. So yeah, you guys can see me replace some window materials over here. Originally, these window panes were white, but I felt like they looked better in black to match the other black, you know, like the other black iron works in this building in particular. There's like those iron grills and those floor to ceiling windows on the upper floor. I felt like those look really nice. So yeah. So that's kind of the rationale behind this. The items that I used some store content. I don't think I can enumerate specifically which ones, but basically most of the items that I used for my Parisian apartment builds are from expansion packs, especially Ambitions, Showtime. Both of those had really awesome items actually, and yeah, and also the base game as well had really nice items as well. The build mode items definitely are mostly from Ambitions and Showtime, so yeah. And then moving forward with some, just, you know, adding in some windows. This is like super redundant. You know what, I might as well ask you guys at this point whether or not you want to see me everything, basically do everything. So do you guys want to see me do this like nitty gritty small things, like making sure that all the windows are the same pattern and are the same shade of color as the wall, because these are the reasons why it takes so much time to finish a build. So yeah. And also, just, I'm not sure if you guys will notice this if I say this, but I did not do the back of these builds. I didn't finish the backs because I just went ahead and did that off camera. And I'm also not going to do the roofs as well in this video because it's such a complicated thing to explain. But basically, it's going to look unfinished in the end, but I will be posting some screenshots that will show you guys the finished product and stuff. The reason why it looks unfinished is, as I've told you guys, this building has two different variations, and when I finished building this one, I actually had to copy this building, plop it in another lot, and resume building an exterior for an additional building that I added to make it look like it was a centerpiece and stuff like that. It's super complicated to explain. It's not that complicated in real life though, but yeah. Anyway, working on the master bedroom, I kept in with the black, you know, touches in the decorations. Definitely the bed covers are black. I used like a nice chandelier fabric texture, and then I made it black, of course, to kind of match with our leather furniture outside, which is really fun. And then I'm also going to place in a closet or like an armoire drawer thing. I'm not sure, it's the same thing anyway. Tried to place it on a diagonal, but it didn't work. I just didn't like how it looked, so I ended up placing it like that. And then another side table. I really wanted to place like a side table to the left of the bed, as you can see it right now, but there just wasn't enough space. I was a little bit worried that the Sims couldn't get to where they needed to go if I placed 2 side tables on the sides of the bed, so I just stuck to one. And yeah, once again, being so freaking perfectionist about the colors matching. I mean, there's like seriously all the woods in this build are the same, all the leathers are the same, and all the metals are the same. That's like how much attention I like to pay attention to. Did that make any sense? That's like how much I like to pay attention to my builds, pretty much. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I should really get over it, because I think that's the reason why these builds are taking a million years and a day to finish. Okay, so out of all the rooms in this lot, the one room that I struggled with the most is the bathroom. And you guys can see that I spent so much time getting it right, making sure that it was perfect and stuff. So yeah, usually when I make bathrooms, I kind of tell myself, you know, I allow myself to be lazy, because I don't think a lot of people really care about the bathrooms. I personally care. So even though I told myself when I went into this, you know, you can be lazy, you can just use default content and stuff, default colors, but it did not look really well. Originally, this was just supposed to be a bathroom, but none of what I was doing was working with the design. So I ended up splitting this room into 2. I know, as small as it is already, I split this room into 2. And then the room near the kitchen is going to be the laundry area. And then the room like nearer the bedroom is going to be the actual bathroom, which is actually complete. It has complete sink, toilet, and a shower and bathtub actually, which is quite nice. And you know, the really funny thing is that a lot of you European people, I'm not sure, but a lot of you actually freaked out when I put my bathrooms right next to the kitchen. And I get this every time I build like a Parisian apartment, is that a lot of you guys are really freaked out about the fact that the kitchen and the bathrooms are next to each other. I'm assuming in Paris or in Europe, generally your bathrooms are inside the bedroom or things like that, but in my country I'm used to having the bathroom outside the bedroom. So if you have guests and stuff, or if there's like an event and stuff, your guests don't have to pass by your bedroom, which is a very private space. So yeah, I was really surprised the first time I got the comments when I placed the bathroom right next to my kitchen. A lot of you guys literally freaked out, and I'm like, is that really that big of a deal? Because in my country, even in my apartment right now, in my condo, the bathroom is in front of the kitchen. So that's that. So I kind of had that in mind when I was building this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a laundry room instead, to make it like a buffer zone. And then the bathroom is further from the kitchen. So hopefully it wouldn't make you guys uncomfortable and stuff. Also, I struggled a lot with the textures that I was using. You guys can see that the shower has some really weird texture glitches going on. I'm like, what is that happening? It's kind of like, I don't know, it makes it look like the shower sides are made of fabric, and I did not like that at all. I also replaced the plumbing fixtures with some base game ones, because, you know, I actually used, before I replaced these with base game, I used high-end Loft stuff items, but I figured that a lot of you guys might not have all the stuff packs, so I just replaced it with base game instead. But yeah. The shower is from Seasons, and I know that a lot of you guys have Seasons anyway, so that's that. And the dishwashers are, no, those are not dishwashers. Those are laundry, washing machines, and they came with ambitions. Once again, I used a lot of ambitions in this. I will throw in a rug over there inside the bathroom as well. I always love having rugs in bathrooms because I hate it when tiles are wet and stuff. Every time I get out of the bath, I always want to have, you know, a dry place to step onto. And a rug really just soaks in all the moisture and stuff like that. So yeah. Now we are working on the public spaces of this apartment, which is really, really fun. And I'm gonna tell you guys this straight off. This is my favorite public common areas out of all the apartments that I did. I think this one looked legit real. It looked, for a lobby, it's really, really ugly. But I like that because it makes it realistic, you know. It's, you know, each apartment has, especially like the cheaper ones have really crappy looking lobbies. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this look like as realistic as possible. So it's a little bit tacky with the colors and with all the matchy-matchy happening. But I actually really liked it. As weird as that might sound. But yeah, you guys can see that it's beginning to look legit. The funny thing is though, I realized that the orientation of like, what are those? Of the elevators were completely wrong. The ground floor elevators were facing the main door, while the succeeding floors, like upstairs, all the elevators were facing the other way. So you guys can see me actually completely redo this setup over here, which is really hilarious. It makes me look like such an idiot for not paying attention, but you know what? Once again, I don't really spend so much time in my lobbies and in my common areas and stuff like that, in the hallways and stuff. But you know what? When I discovered that, you know what, this common room, this hallway, this lobby actually looks decent. So I did spend a little bit more time than I was expecting to. And it was really worth it for me because it looked really nice. I especially love how it looked before I changed it. But I had to, because otherwise the Sims couldn't get upstairs if the elevators were facing the wrong way. So yeah. Also, this was the first time that I actually made like a legit lobby where there was like a reception desk and stuff like that. But I was a little bit sad that I wasn't able to put a computer on top of the counter, because I usually do those in my Sims 3 builds. I mean, in my Sims 4 builds, I can put counters on top, and I can put computers on top of counters. Hashtag dyslexic, you guys, I cannot talk. But yeah, I would put computers on top of counters, and they would work really well. It looks really good for receptionists and stuff, but I wasn't able to do so, so I just placed a chair instead. So you guys can see that what I'm talking about. It's really, really basic, I guess, and it looks very apartment-ish, so that's really nice. And yeah, you guys can see me type in the move objects sheet a bunch of times trying to fit in that computer, but it just wasn't working. So yeah. Anyway, there are a bunch of required items for apartments to work, and there's 3 of them actually. One is a trash chute. Check. I place that later. And then the other one is a call box. Check. I will place that in a little bit. And then the third one is a mailbox. Check. I just placed that behind the reception counter. There goes the call box. And then eventually I will make sure that all the colors are matchy-matchy. So yeah. It actually turned out really well. Once again, I will change this layout completely, thus adding to more work time for me. Because I literally had to redo everything. So yeah. Actually, you know what? What I actually realized doing, you know, this past couple of speed builds for you guys is that what takes a really, really long time for me to finish the speed builds is actually figuring out the different colors that I'm gonna use for a build, which is really hilarious, you know. But once I get the color schemes together, in, you know, working properly and stuff, it actually works really well. So that's that. And then adding in these black parts of the building are going to be the parts where your Sims cannot access them. So that's that. And And then each floor your Sims can actually go to. However, there's like no door for any neighbors because I don't want and some of you guys also pointed this out. I should put like more doors in other apartments and stuff to make it look like there are neighbors and stuff. But the reason why I don't put doors is that the game, every time you put doors in apartments, and this is just an assumption that I'm making, every time you put doors in an apartment, the game is automatically gonna generate neighbors for you. So if you guys imagine having dozens and dozens or even hundreds of apartments, then the game is going to generate hundreds of NPCs that are going to slow your gameplay down, and that is something that I did not want. That's why I don't place any doors for the neighbors anymore. So yeah, once again, placing in these elevators which once again, matchy, making sure that all of these are the same color. And then that was the point where I realized that they were the other way around. So I'm just like, okay, I have to extend parts of the lobby and the hallway and things like that. It's a mess. It's a mess, but it's really funny though. I think it turned out really well anyway in the end. I'm still really happy with how it looked like, even though I liked the first layout a little bit more than I did the second one. But you know, there's no choice. We just have to make it work and, you know, deal with it. I'm so happy with this lobby though. I am gonna add like a reception area to the other previous apartment builds that I did, Parisian apartment builds that I did, just because that wasn't a thing a year ago. So I cannot believe that the previous Parisian apartment number 4 was uploaded like almost a year ago. Well, you know, 8 months ago or something like that, 7 months or something. I don't know, I'm bad at math. And yeah, once again, making sure that I am placing all the required items, and some of my friends are getting online. There we go, the call box. And then thankfully I didn't forget the trash chute that I am going to put later on when we go upstairs. It's the same level as the unit, or the loft unit that we have. So yeah, one thing that I always struggle doing is placing lights. I don't know why I always struggle placing lights, because I want them to be aligned. You guys can see it's like aligned with each other, makes a perfect square if you kind of connect the dots and stuff. I don't know, I just really like it like that. Thankfully, I was able to figure out a good layout for both the elevators and the lights and things like that. It actually turned out really well in the end. And the last couple of items that we are going to add are some doors, of course, that leads to the main unit. And a trash chute is going to be placed right next to it. I had trouble finding it, by the way, because I forgot how it looked like, and I was kind of second guessing myself whether it came with late night or in base game, but it came with late night. I saw that logo or icon. There it goes. So yeah, you can actually live in this right now if you can download this. The only person who has this is me, and that wall glitched out. I'm like, what is going on? But yeah, I just redid the wall textures and stuff. That was really weird. There's a bunch of glitches that we encountered in this build, but it's really fun. I always have fun seeing glitches because sometimes they're just look really funny. Also, the doors have different materials to them. The outside matches, like both sides of the door pretty much match the sides that they're on, the rooms that they're on pretty much. So there we go. That's why the door is pretty much a different color. The door frame is different. Even the door itself has 2 colors. The one facing the lobby has like, or the hallway has like a blue color, and then the one facing the room has a wooden texture, so that's fun. And then adding in these lights to make it all nice and uniform, and yeah, doing some final checks with the lights, making sure that everything is properly lit. So yeah, that is going to be it for this 5th Parisian apartment speed build. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in a couple of screenshots for you guys to see the finished product, and also how good it looks placed on a row, so you guys can see how it looks right next to each other and stuff like that. You can also see like both variations as well, one for the corner and one for the centerpiece. Okay guys, so yeah, once again, that is going to be it for this 5th Parisian apartment speed build. Once again, please don't forget to hit that like, favorite, and subscribe button because it's really gonna help out my channel a lot. You all have an awesome day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!